So I'm quickly going to shoot a current view of the market of why is it different from the previous pump right here. Why is it different from this one? First of all, in the previous, we did not have any sort of people who are getting in the longs, right? They were not getting in the longs, not until this point. So now you can see people getting in the longs, and of course, market moved against them. Then we're going down. People were longing, as you can see, right? That's why we kept going down. Now, look how well was funding, how well funding acted as a almost timing indicator, where it was signaling you to take some profit, right? To trim. Just watch. Excellent place to trim. Excellent place to trim. Well, it's just repeating of the same thing. And then another one, excellent place to trim, right? So this acts very nicely right now for us. It seems to, so far. Now, as you can see before, when we bounced off, and you can argue that we're about in the same area on this fractal as in this fractal. However, we did not have any buyer people who are buying. Okay, so yeah, we can say buyers. Then this time, look, we already have buyers piling up. So it's a very different behavior from this one. So, which means that we may not go as far as we did before. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but what it means is that it is different, and this type of behavior allows the market to have opportunity to move in the area with least resistance. Okay, so you can see that this is the market is least resistant. It doesn't mean that the market necessarily going to move there, but given that the price action and the fractals, that is likely to move towards that direction. So it's just like a general feel for you. So that is why I would not be longing right now. Okay, I would not be longing this one because of this. Plus, I'm looking at 4 hour, and 4 hour is going to reverse, as you can see, very quickly, very soon, if not next 4 hours. So you have a series of deceleration candles, and now we're about to have first shift in momentum. And you know what we learned in previous classes, that whenever momentum is shifting down, and if the price action is going down, any move up is up for us to short. Okay, so that's what we're looking for right now. Is we're waiting for that first move down, and then we're looking for that Y1 or Y2 or Y0, whatever we're going to get, to short that. So we're waiting for the market to make its first move, and then we're going to jump in. But we're not going to jump in before that. Now, I am having a little tiny short in this area because there is this little tiny gap that hasn't been closed. And if I look at this 30-minute fractal, it kind of Y2 has confluence with that little gap. So I'm just playing around. I'm very lightly in this one in case the market just gonna wicks to this location, completing the Y2. And because of this, because I'm playing it very lightly, and because you can see that there's a lot of buying happening on this run, that I'm not too worried about this. But if this moves against me, I will cut it. It's not. I'm not going to hold on to it. Plus, if we look at our bids versus asks, in the previous pump was very different behavior, guys. Very different. So the unfortunate thing about this is that I can't scroll back in time on this time frame, which is unfortunate because I would love to see and compare what was happening there, but I don't. Actually, let me see if I have it saved. which for your future reference, make sure you take snapshots of the charts, so then you can study them in the future until Bitcoinity going to get their act together and create a little bit better chart. Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to quickly see if I have that. All right. As a matter of fact, I do or don't. This one's taken 28th of August. So this one's recent, but it goes back a little further. Oh. Yeah, hold on. This one. Yeah, this one's good. Yeah, so let me show you how things were different last time. Okay, and that is why we can only go based on how things how things happened before. Sorry, what am I saying? No, we can only go by the things of what is happening in real time, right? All these ideas that we're just gonna hit right below 10K and then we're gonna go to the moon from here is a great idea, but what we're seeing is different behavior. Okay, so last time this was this pump that you can kind of compare to the current situation that we had here, right? And it kind of took us really high. Now this is just only got to this point, but at this price level where we are right now, look at this massive buying demand that was created. Okay, so there are a lot of people were buying it and a lot of people wanted to buy. That's the difference. Now if we look at the current situation, all right, where are all the buyers? Okay, they are shying away. They don't want to buy this, and the sellers are coming up. Very different scenario. Okay, that is why we're having a little bit more bearish sentiment. We're going to be looking for more of the Ys to short than H's to long because of this. And so just continue watching this and see how that sort of resolves and unfolds. And it would be really nice for this to do a mini version of what we had before, right? Just truncated version, not go past this line because that would not be fun, because that's essentially breaking the structure of our triangle, right? Look at this. 1, 2, 3. It would be very nice if we touch this one and then continue down. And this time it's a fourth time. People say it's a third time is a charm. Well, in Bitcoin, sometimes it's a fourth time as a chart. Look, 1, 2, 3. The fourth time might be a charm. And this line so far has been respected very nicely, and which is going to look like it's been cut with a knife should this end right here. And it's very, very significant, okay, if that happens. Now, it does look at this point that it may happen. This has been violated once, twice. That's not to say that the price is not going to respect this later on. Okay, so that's why I've never removed the old channels in case the price goes back and then respects them, once again. So that's what I have here. My take on this. I really think that this is a very important line, and taking this line together, giving us of a nice price point of where we may end up, right? Which is doesn't mean that we're gonna obviously go to this point, but I'm just saying it just would fit very, very nicely. And I don't think that this massive 4-day Y can go without having some sort of H, right? I don't care what kind of H, but it has to have an H. Every Y needs a lower high, and insofar it did not went below its belly, right? It just doesn't feel right to me. Okay. So look at this. How this once it started respecting it, it respected 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this line was tested 1, 2, 3, and pull back, and the fourth one was a charm, right? So we have a similar situation happening here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then there's a question mark over here. We're gonna get the fourth time as a charm. This area right here coincides with the moon phases, which I like, and it did the hunch that I had that whenever we're going towards the new moon, that we're gonna have another new pump, and whenever that ends on the full moon, we're having the really, really, strong drop. That's how it works, because you can see so far it was, boom, the moon phase change, we got that pump. 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 Meaning that the timing, also looking at the cycles, and there's many ways of looking at the cycles, but I'm kind of leaning towards the cycles of the nature now, and perhaps the nature of the cycles in terms of again, nature, right? How cycles happen in the universe, as opposed to trying to count at specific days or anything like that. Yeah, no, I like this one, and it would be really nice if we get some nice Y over here, which would be the belly of our H2, and then the H2 ends up somewhere here at the point of our moon phase being at the full moon. And that's going to happen. We have what, 30th of August now. Next full moon it's about here. It's about 15th of September. I mean, we can quickly Google that and find out. Next full moon, 12:33 at 14th. So I was off by about a day. Okay, there. And we know that the price likes to end the moon phase at the lowest point, which gives us the peak somewhere in the middle, which we may be peaking within next 3 days or so. Okay, and that gives us an opportunity right now. Oh, see, we are retracing down, which is good. We don't need to react to this one. We want to let it happen, and we will counter the second move. Yeah, and it doesn't really want to move, but it will. Okay. So that's the situation right now. Okay. Now let's not get excited about this drop, but obviously let everybody go with this drop. The price, any kind of price that bounces up, that's the one we want. Maybe short lightly Y1, then medium Y2, and then heavy. Y0, and then heavy Y2. We're back in the game, guys. We're back in the same stuff that what we're doing right here. We may actually have this type of fractal, a small version of that right here. Okay, we'll see how it resolves, but we dealt with this in the past. We can deal with this again, and that may be another opportunity for us to jump on this jump on this short that did not work out for us this time. Now, I just want to quickly touch on a scenario here. Now, the signals were all over. I was way too comfortable with this being it, right? I was way too comfortable with this being it. And sure enough, that cost me. However, that's not to say that signals were not there. They were there. They were there for us to trim thoroughly. I only trimmed lightly, which was a mistake. Then there was a signal right here. Let me show you how I. Sometimes when it seems to be like there's no sine waves here. All you gotta do is go into different time frame. Let's see, daily. Yeah, and then you get to see it, right? So maybe daily is a little too much. Okay, so you get to see the sine waves. So you can paint those, obviously draw the sine waves, and then you have your boundaries. Okay, now the bullish scenario like this, it should have broken down. There's no questions like what kind of move is here. This is not acceptable. It went outside our channel. This was not acceptable in a scenario that we were playing. So when it did happen, that was our sign to get out. And I reported to you guys. I said like, hey, VF past 886. We don't want to get in the mix. However, myself, I did not take action on that. Again, that's because the behavioral principles that I neglected. So if you look at it, which by the way, that the idea was born, so-called the new principle that I'm calling resetting the game, and I think it's very important. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that maybe in the next class. But it's about you having because everybody had this type of experience. Okay, everybody had this sense where like, oh my God, things are going great. There's no way it can go better. And sure enough, it doesn't. Okay, and then gamblers know full well what that means. It's just knowing whenever that intuition tells you that like, hey, maybe you had enough. Something is, maybe don't push it, and you just appreciate what you have, as opposed to go into greed. And the gratitude versus greed. That's what the resetting game is all about. It's at the moment you're going into that state of mind, you are resetting the game. And the only thing you do is you close everything at that peak profit, which I assume is likely going to be your sequential 9 on your sequential chart. That's what the ugly is developing, right? And that's why I really think that we're going to be surprised how many times we have this nice, nines going up with a massive peak and telling us to get out, okay? That's sort of like a visual representation of we already intuitively feel. And what we do, we reset the game. We close everything, and then we look right from the scratch, and then we'll look at the market and say, okay, would I be short right now? And then it changes. You have approaching with the clean mind. Okay, and then the clean mind would tell you, obviously, like, okay, this did not work out. We gave a VF past the 886. Obviously, it just punched through the 886 and gave a VF here. WF, I mean. But it's like another signal screaming right in your face. It gave you the chance to get the hell out. Now, I didn't, because I did not have a clear mind. I should have reset the game at this point. When Ugly called us in, he called in our talk, and that's another thing. And he was saying, hey, it's a nice profit. Maybe you should take some. But I was too hung up on this, and that did not happen. However, that helped me now to create the principle around it, and have that in my arsenal, right? So that just made me into a better trader, and hopefully it's the same for you guys. All right, so I'm going to share this very quickly. Hopefully that explains current situation as much as I can explain it this time, but just keep looking for fractals right now, and watch the sentiment, and we are cautiously looking to short. We are not buying on this run at this point. It's very different from the previous run, as you can see. All right, talk to you later.